Alright, here we are with the Scout Traveler for the running and driving video. Got it all nice and warmed up. Got the 4-way flashers going. Looks like this headlight's out. Either one of the high beams or both, but we'll go ahead and get that replaced. So when you get it, it'll be all lights working. Running real nice and quiet, smooth. Got your corner lights working. Blanket. No smoke coming out from down below. As you can see, the exhaust is rusted. I was talking about, you know, it's good using nice. These things sound awesome, Flowmaster. You know, and it does leak a little bit of fluids. All that stuff's original, so you know, depending on the person and the wants and needs and stuff like that, might want to, you know, maybe go through and maybe do a transmission pan gasket or something. All right, bear with me here. I got to get belted in. We're gonna do a little bit of freeway driving, hopefully, but we're gonna go through town. Window rolls up and down really nice and smooth. All your fly windows. I mean, you're gonna get some wind noise out of this thing. I mean, you can see it's aerodynamics of a brick. So e-brake works, all that stuff. You know, if anybody's had a Scout or Old International knows that gauges aren't their strong suit. Your speedometer, odometer works, amps work, but like the gas gauge, you're kind of, you know, it works when it wants to. Sometimes it works. I think it might work more when it's more full, but it's just weird. Sometimes you hit a bump and it'll start working, and sometimes you'll jump in and it'll work straight for a couple weeks, and sometimes it won't work for a couple weeks. So you can get all that stuff brand new. You can get brand new gauges, sending units. Just, I mean, the International, the aftermarket's really jumped a hold of the Internationals. You can get all kinds of cool stuff for these things. So we're gonna get going here. Besides the rear hatch rattling, this is a really solid truck. Gonna hit some of these potholes, 45, soaks them up nice. You know, it's a bouncy little ride. It's got the lift kit. Gonna go up this monster hill here. You know, there's no cracks in the window or anything. You know, the floor shift automatic trucks, I have a habit of manually shifting them. So you can floor it. You know, it's kick down works good. You can hear that big carburetor kicking in. You know, you could keep a 4-barrel on it, which it has now. You know, I think it's Quadrajet, I believe. I personally like them with a 2-barrel. I think 4-barrel's too much on these things, but everybody's their own opinion. You know, so maybe replace it with a nice Carter electric choke 4 or 2-barrel. But stop's nice. It's got a firm pedal. You know, it just drives like it should. Doesn't have a lot of play in the steering. You know, it's got nice and tight steering. It's really fun to drive. It's got tilt steering. The steering column's not all wore out. You know, it's got all the turn signals self-cancel. Looks like there's a little bit of traffic here, so we might jump ship on the highway and try to get going on a back road a little faster, but we'll see what happens. I'm trying to think. The radio doesn't work. It doesn't seem to. You know, it doesn't make any noise or nothing. It's just kind of your typical old truck stuff. You know, it's got cruise control. I've never actually tried it. Maybe we'll give her a go. The windshield wipers got 2 speeds, about slow and a little quicker than slow. But the little wipers are like basically like the same size as your Volkswagen Beetle. You know, that's slow there, and that's the high speed. So hopefully we're gonna get out here on the freeway and open her up a little bit. But the sending units, you can see them on eBay or go on, there's all kinds of, you know, like Super Scout Specialist, Scout Madness, scoutparts.com. You can get a sending unit anywhere between kind of $56 till, you know, to like about 80 bucks, depending on which, you know, part source you go to. Gonna go ahead and crank on the blinker here. The blower motor works good. The heater works really nice and warm. It's a non-AC truck. But I know the hood's all original, you know, all the smog equipment and stuff like that. It says 4 low, 4 high system. So you could shift into 4 high as you're driving. So that's nice, but 4 low, you could definitely want to come to a stop. So alrighty, here we go. Might not be able to get up to some crazy speeds. Slow down here, we got some road construction. Alrighty here, so we're up to about 35. Not crazy speeds. We're gonna pick it up here. I'm gonna let a little bit of room get going in front of the guy in front of us, so you can get the wind noise going on. I mean, even if you have all new seals on a truck like this, a truck this square, you're gonna have wind noise. This is how it is. But it's a killer old truck. Drives really nice. You know, it doesn't drive like a new Escalade by any means. So we're up to 50 now. Go ahead and floor it. You can hear that carburetor kick in. Climb up to 65. It just drives nice and straight down the road. It's fun to drive. It's, you know, it's bouncy. You know, it's just a classic old truck feeling. You know, it doesn't feel like a new vehicle, but it's plenty dependable, easy to drive, smooth to drive, but it's a blast to drive, especially if you take the tops off these things. This one's never been off, amazingly, after 34, nearly 35 years. But I'll go ahead and floor it again. You can hear it kick down. Go ahead and turn here. It definitely gets up and moves. I mean, this carburetor might just need a cleaning. You know, you might not need to replace it, but you can just feel it. You know, when it's been sitting a while, it's a little cold-blooded. You know, kind of an old-natured beast. You know, it's a carbureted vehicle. That's kind of how carburation is. We'll go here for a little bit longer. Kind of take you for a spin. Kind of try to give you guys the best idea of what it's like to drive one of these vehicles without actually being in it. You know, if you're looking for your first time old vehicle, you've never owned anything older than the 90s or something, you know, maybe try to, and you're out of state, maybe try to find an old Bronco or Blazer, an old, you know, straight axle leaf spring vehicle near you that you can drive and get an idea of it. The Scout Travelers are a little longer wheelbase, so they do ride a little bit better, a little bit more cushy than just the regular Scout 2s. Scout 2s are shorter, but both of them have the tops come off and basically have the same characteristics. So we're doing about 40 miles an hour right now. Nice, easy, cool driving. Trying to hit some potholes. There you go. I mean, it's a really sound truck. It's fun to drive with the little sport steering wheel. So you can kind of see it bouncing around. But all right. So hopefully you guys get a chance to bid and check out all the photos and videos, and good luck.